into Press Box.
Go ahead.
Welcome into Press Box Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, along with an old friend, and both of us are getting old, Rick. It's Rick Dempsey,
Hey, speak
Orioles
for
Hall of
yourself.
Famer. How you feeling?
I'm
How you
feeling
feeling?
pretty good, Stan. Thank you. Nice to talk to you guys today. It's been a long time since anybody from Baltimore has called me. So
I, I,
this is a
I,
special day.
I know that. I know that.
Yeah.
You got some special news, and we're going to get to it in a minute. I don't know how involved you are with watching the Orioles, but I know you live in LA and you still follow the Dodgers, which is one of the two clubs you won a World Series ring for. Boy, they are something else, aren't they?
They really are. They have a lot of power behind them financially, and I think they at least get to knock on a few better doors than most of the teams get to do. But they are very smart about a lot of things that they do. If they're going to sign a player to big money, they're going to make sure that he's one of the best players and somebody that can really help this team. They
Yeah.
don't put the name out there for no reason. Otani's a pretty, their last big sign, 700 million, and he's worth every penny of it. Even before he picks the bat up and swings, but he is a very special hitter. And in today's game, there's no ballpark that can hold him, Stan. And he's a really a nice kid too. Somebody that everybody tells me how respectful he is, and just what he gives to the Dodgers is exactly what all players should give. He works hard at it and he puts the numbers up.
Rick, the job you missed getting in baseball was being Otani's translator. You would have had access to all of his accounts.
Outside of the game, I'm not a good gambler, so it wouldn't have been good from the very beginning. That part of it.
Well,
But yeah,
apparently he wasn't a good gambler either.
no, no, no. He doesn't
Uh,
have to gamble.
yeah, that's exactly right. You could have
Yeah.
just had access to the accounts. Rick, all kidding aside, the thing that impressed me so much, they've got gobs of money to spend, but they won in 24. They win the World Series basically because they had a deep bullpen. This year they come back and the bullpen was horse hockey. I mean, it was terrible, the bullpen for the second half of the year. And they won with the depth of their starting pitcher. That's pretty amazing to win back to back in totally different ways.
It really is because this team, they've in the past relied on their bullpen a
Yeah.
lot, but now they've got a lot of good starters that are going deep in ball games. And I heard say it's. I know the analytics of the game is to allow the guy to go out there, maybe the starter to throw 100 pitches, and then boom, then the bullpen is supposed to pick them up. Well, that's not the way they do it. The manager they have out there now, like the uh, Dave, is a pretty smart manager, and he lets the pitchers go. First of all, he's got to account for them being in pretty good shape to be able to handle a 100 pitch ball game and to get deeper in the game than that at times. And he managed to do that pretty well going down the stretch. Um, uh, the guy who pitched such a great 9 inning ball game was the other Asian pitcher that they signed.
Yamamoto. Yep.
Yamamoto was just fantastic, and he was just like Oral Hershiser. He finishes a 9 inning ball game, and the next day he wants to go in that game and close out the World Series for them too. That's the same thing that Oral Hershiser did when we had to win the National League title against the Mets back in 1988. Is Oral Hershiser beat him in the second to last game, and in the last game he wanted to close it out. He didn't even ask Tommy Lasorda whether he wanted to bring him in the game. He just went down there and warmed up and said, "Go in and tell Tommy I'm ready to come in," and he did.
Yeah.
And we closed it out and won the National League.
Hey, just a couple more questions about this before going on to some exciting news about your business in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And that is Clayton Kershaw. I know you got to see him a fair amount
Yes.
living out there. Uh, the fact, first of all, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no question about it.
No doubt.
Does it detract from his career that his postseason outings weren't as special as everything he did during the regular season?
Well, a lot of people bring that point up. I never offer that information because I really don't know Kershaw other than watching him on
Yeah,
television pitch. And I know he's got that funky little delivery where he picks the front leg up and pops it twice and then throws. The guy has been spectacular almost the entire season. Towards the end, especially the last couple of years, you can see that I remember him pitching a no-hit baseball up in Toronto for one, and he wanted to finish the ball game out. I thought, well, maybe they shouldn't do that because they wanted Kershaw to be starting off,
yeah.
a playoff game for them. He finished the ball game and then didn't perform well in the playoff game. So everybody started saying, "Oh, they overworked him and all that kind of thing." He's a pretty strong guy for so many years, and I think maybe the years have caught up with him, maybe not.
Yeah.
But you can usually tell, and especially me, because all of the great pitchers that I caught, I could read the mechanics. And when that arm started to get out a little too far away from the body, you could tell then that the arm was getting a little tired. The body was getting tired for whatever reason. That release point changes. All about the release point, Stan. When that release point is right out there in front and it pops off your fingertips, don't say a word to them. But if all of a sudden it's way out here to this side and you can see that hand release, you know that you're not going to get the same release point, and it's time to start talking to the manager or the pitching coach about, who do we have ready to come in. It looks to me like he's starting to lose a little bit. So there's ways to look at it like that. Very unfortunate that his postseason record is not anywhere near as good as what he gave the team every year from start to finish. But it doesn't take away from how good this guy really has been his entire career.
One last thing about the Dodgers, and I know we're taping this in Baltimore, so people are saying, "What the hell are you talking about the Dodgers?" It's because Rick played for the Dodgers, won a World Series. You've gotten to see Mookie Betts over the years.
Yeah.
How many players do you know? I'm not going to say he's the greatest player of all time, but the fact that he's a Gold Glove right fielder, comes in a couple of years ago and has to play second base, and now he's a shortstop that frankly looks like a Gold Glove shortstop.
It plays as a Gold Glove level. You're absolutely right. I've always called Mookie a big game player. Whenever you're in a tough series or you're in big games against some of the better teams in baseball, you want Mookie Betts out there somewhere up the middle. And I'll tell you what, a spectacular job he did at shortstop this year. He made plays I didn't even think he would be capable of making. And, he's always there in the middle of the mix. Now, the Dodgers in that World Series, they didn't hit the ball in the World Series like they did all season long. Usually, at some time or another, they start to light it up as a team. But they got big hits from the right guys. And Mookie Betts was one of those guys again. Maybe the batting average wasn't as high as it normally is going through playoff and World Series, but he got hits when they really needed them. And so, that proves to me, that any team can go on a downside. It's happened to the Orioles when we were at our best also. Nobody would hit the ball. But, as long as you can play good defense and you take advantage of the little things in the game that you need to do, turn the double play, be in the right spot at the right time, keep the ball from going through for a single, those kind of things, keep the double play in order. When you start doing things like that, it makes up for your lack of offense. That's what happened to the Dodgers in that last series against Toronto, is they did the little things that mattered. They didn't get doubled off on double plays and stuff and trying to force runs across the plate. That was the little bitty mistake that Toronto made, was the base running. It hurt them at the end. But outside of that, Toronto had an amazing year. I can't wait to see what they turn that ball club into next year. They had a lot of great young players. You don't even know their names, most of them. And these guys hit the cover off the ball the entire time.
You proud of Mark Shapiro?
Oh, I am. I was pulling so hard to get his first big win, but I was stuck between the Dodgers, who have been so good to me for so many years, and Mark Shapiro, I didn't mind it, but
You
man,
must have known him since he was a little kid, didn't you?
yeah, I did. I knew him and his brother for a long time, and I was happy to reunite with his father, who was my agent, Ron Shapiro.
Right.
And um, we had a nice talk about it, and I knew Mark was up there in Toronto, and but he's
Right.
turned that organization around, and sooner or later, I hope he wins the big one.
I want to remind folks that we're brought to you by the Costas Inn each and every time we come on here now with two great locations. One at North Point Boulevard, where you can still get steamed crabs. 410-477-1975 is the phone number out there. And then they've got the new location at Timonium, right above the grandstand in Timonium at the racetrack, right next to the OTB, the Costas Inn. Try them for the first time there in Timonium. You won't regret it. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Rick, speaking of business, you've got a new business that you're starting with one of your partners, Rick Oliver, and maybe some other folks. But tell us a little bit about the new business.
Well, yeah, we decided, that we weren't really getting the job done like I would have liked it to do. We had another partner, and we just kind of had to split off from that because there wasn't enough time for him to spend at both places. My baseball school is out in Columbia, and
Yep.
I'm sure most people know where it is. And we now hired another guy to come on board to run it on a daily basis, where we know somebody's going to be there every day to handle all the phone calls and get the young kids in. We like the baseball, of course, that's our number one focus, but we've expanded to more sports than that. We want softball, we want soccer, we want um, what's that game you guys throw the ball in the net?
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse. And I don't know too much about lacrosse, but we enjoy having all sports there. We've got batting cages. We've got, when we fold them up, we got plenty of room to take a full infield, and we work on their throwing, the footwork, etc., at all sorts of at all sports.
Rick, pull your mic down just a little bit again. There you go. Now you're perfect. Rick,
Okay.
tell me a little bit, first of all, with lacrosse and soccer and softball, you're going to be doing men and women?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest softball group that we have there is a women's softball group. And they come in, there's a lot of them there, and they work as hard at it as any of the guys do. They want to win. And Allie Ruttman, I can't remember Allie's last name all of a sudden, but Allie runs the
Andrzejewski?
No, that's not it. No.
Okay, he's a women's soccer player. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's soccer, but I was talking softball.
Okay.
Yeah, but boy, they get to it, and she's a very good coach, and they always have really great teams, So,
all right, tell us a little bit about the facility itself. It's located at 9515 Gerwig Lane in Columbia. The phone number to contact Doug Caraway, who's going to be running the place, is 443-418-1905, or you can email him at dbsports18@gmail.com. Tell us a little bit about the facility.
Well, the facility is 6,000 square feet, so we've got a lot of room out there. It's all carpeted and everything for everybody, and it's very nice and clean. We got all the baseballs, the machines, and everything that you need out there. The instructor that we have, Doug Caraway, is very experienced at what he does, and he's a very good businessman. That's what we really needed, was a good businessman.
Okay.
And he's got it rocking and rolling already. So, you gave the number out there. People should call, and he'll set you up to come in and get some personal instruction. all of my friends around Baltimore that I played ball with, Al Bumbry is one of our best hitting instructors, Mike Bordick, infield instructor. He also does a little hitting at the same time. You
Right.
know, we've got a lot of Tippy Martinez, left-handed pitcher. You name it, we've got it. All the guys that live around Baltimore, and even in an occasional visit by one of the greatest hitters the Orioles ever had, Ken Singleton, switch hitter. He still lives in the area. We have him come out and talk to the kids for a while. They're all very enthusiastic and very good instructors too. So
It sounds like an incredible crew. Tippy can teach kids how to pick off three guys in a row, can't he?
yeah, that would have never happened if it wasn't for me getting thrown out of the game. That's for sure. Everybody was going to try to steal a base off of Lenny Sakata
Right,
because they
right.
knew he wasn't a catcher. And
You
what
know,
did Timmy have?
technically, the third guy, Barry Bonnell, he
Yeah.
was caught stealing because he ran to second base, right?
Well, the first two guys looked so surprised, like, oh no, what do you mean the ball's there ahead of me? Geez. And
That
it
was
was
one of the greatest scenes of all
one of
time.
the
Greatest
greatest
scenes of all
games. You
time.
are absolutely right.
All right. You're also doing something there. There's sponsorships at various levels on player appearances or autograph signings. Tell us a little bit about that. Might there be some appearances from some current Orioles?
Oh, absolutely. When we get into our summer program and we know that the guys have a little time to devote to us and everything, we like to bring them out, talk to the kids, and put on their own personal little events there, on teaching how to hit. And it's great to have Ken Singleton. He's got so much that he can tell the guys. Tippy Martinez, and we just have everybody. Mike Bordick is an outstanding instructor. He speaks very well to the kids. He makes them understand exactly what it takes. And I think the fact that he's not too big and not too intimidating, that the kids have a real good time listening to him. They
Yeah,
take him seriously.
they can see a little bit of themselves in him because
Yes.
he's sort of like an everyman. Rick, a question sort of philosophically about getting better at baseball. We're talking in November. Baseballs start again like in
Yeah.
mid to late March. Is this the best time for kids to take instruction? Because when they get to their little league managers, they're well-meaning guys, but
Yeah.
they don't really know baseball like your teacher.
Right. The sooner you get going at the end of a baseball season and you get some verbal instruction from coaches like we have at our facility, it's better to see it now so that you can start working on these kind of things, because you can't just walk out on the mound and start trying to throw as hard as you can.
Yeah.
There's a whole way to get yourself physically fit. Now, Stan, I've said it, and I know you don't hear much about it in Major League Baseball, but baseball to me was a year-round job. You had one day off. When you get home, you unpack, that's it, and you start your winter workouts. Kids in are the players in Major League Baseball today don't run enough in the wintertime.
Yeah.
The pitchers usually go, and I interviewed a lot of them. I'm not mentioning their names, but they go hunting for the first month. They go fishing the second month. They go home to play golf and hang out with their
Right.
buds for a while. It's 3.5 months into the winter before they even pick up a baseball. Now, that's not how you're going to last for a long time in baseball. In baseball, you never stop throwing. You never stop running. You can weight lift at what is good for you. A lot of bench press is going to make you tight across your chest. It's going to limit the amount of range that you have with your arm going back, no matter what side you throw from. But it's always good to keep stretching your arm out on a regular basis. 2-3 times a week, you have to throw. Maybe not max out, but I think the way you develop arm strength as a young player is by throwing long toss. You stand on the left field line, your partner keeps backing up all the way to center field until you're throwing nice and easy, but you're lofting the ball. You have to learn how to grip a baseball first with a 4-seam grip and a 2-seam grip and kind of understand what the difference is. But with a 4-thing grip, you start to play long toss. Your arm will gradually get stronger and stronger as you get older and bigger. And then when you get to that point where you're at that age where you can really start whipping it out there, you're at major league level or high minor league level, that's where you kind of just taper off a little bit and save a little bit for spring training. And so you don't want to overdo anything, but you constantly have to be stretching. Every time you weight lift, you have to stretch it back out. Too many guys waste too much time on the disabled list in the game today, as far as I'm concerned. And you don't want to listen to a lot of these guys that say, just get out there on the mound and throw as hard as you can. And then when you get tired, we'll get somebody out. No, that's a sure trip to the hospital to get your first Tommy John operation. So you don't want to get into that thing. I played the game for 27 years. The only reason I quit was because maybe I had a few uncomfortable moments with the team I might have been with. So, but no, that has nothing to do it. But if you're going to stay in good physical condition and give the organization you're playing for their money's worth, and they're paying big money these days, you know that, Stan, is you've got to stay healthy and you got to stay ready to play almost 200 ball games, 30 that you play at spring training, 162 during the game, and how many ever it ever takes you to get to that final game of the World Series. You better be in good shape to do it, or you're just not going to last.
Rick, one last thing. At Rick Dempsey Sports, again, it's located at 9515 Gerwig Lane. It's a 6,000 square foot facility. They've got 7 batting cages, pitching mounds, beautiful AstroTurf. They're also not just baseball. They do softball, lacrosse, and soccer.
Thank you, Stan.
But I wanted to ask you, at Rick Dempsey Sports, tell us a little bit about when somebody comes there for the first time. Who does the assessment of what that player needs to work on?
Well, Caraway, he's the one that you'll see first. You'll contact him on the phone and you'll see him first. He'll explain the whole facility to you. It's very simple, very easy. And everybody there, all the instructors and Mr. Caraway too at the same time will kind of lead you along the way. And everybody's got an eye on you, every coach that is there. Don't be afraid to talk to any one of them. If you see somebody you've known, you know who they are, always ask questions. That's the first rule of baseball. Never stop asking questions. Somebody there will give you an answer to either a mechanical thing that you're doing wrong, or as much as, to find out where you should be at the right time, at the batting cage and working on your defense.
Rick, it's been a pleasure again. The facility, it's called Rick Dempsey Sports. It's located in Columbia at 9515 Gerwig Lane. Doug Caraway is going to be running the place. He's the director of operations at 443-418-1905, or email him at dbssports18@gmail.com. Rick Dempsey, always a pleasure. Best of luck with the facility.
Thank you, Stan. Great being on your show.
All right. Talk to you soon, Rick. Bye.
All right, sir.
Thanks to the Costas Inn for bringing this special edition of Press Box Live to you tonight.